If you grew up in 1980s Australia, stay with this video until the end. Some of these memories don't just unlock nostalgia, they unlock a version of life that doesn't exist anymore. Not the big historical moments, not the politics or technology, but the small everyday rituals that shaped how childhood felt. Things you didn't realize were special until they vanished. These are the moments that only make sense if you lived them. If you didn't, they might sound strange, slow, or even pointless. But if you did, they'll hit you right in the chest. This isn't just a list. It's a return. 1. Recording songs off the radio like it was a mission. Recording songs off the radio wasn't casual. It wasn't background noise. It was a full commitment. You'd sit there with your cassette recorder, finger hovering over the pause or record button, waiting. Waiting for the DJ to shut up. Waiting for the intro to hit. Waiting for your song. Usually on a Sunday afternoon, during the top 40 countdown, or late at night when the house was quiet. You had one shot. If you missed the first few seconds, that was it. If the DJ talked over the intro, you had to decide whether to live with it or wait another whole week. And if someone in the house made noise, yelled, flushed the toilet, or slammed a door, that sound was burned into the tape forever. Those tapes mattered. You'd label them in messy handwriting. Side A, Side B. Maybe give them a name if you were feeling creative. Summer Mix. Best Songs. Awesome Tape. You'd play them until the sound went wobbly and the tape stretched thin. And if the cassette got eaten by the deck, you'd grab a pencil and slowly wind it back in, praying it still worked. Today, music is instant. Perfect. Endless. But it doesn't feel earned. Back then, every song you captured felt like a win. Recording off the radio taught patience, timing, and appreciation. It wasn't just music. It was effort. 2. Saturday morning cartoons were sacred time. Saturday mornings weren't optional. They were planned. You woke up earlier than you ever would for school. Quietly. Carefully. You didn't want to wake your parents. You'd creep into the lounge room, sit cross-legged on the floor, and turn on the TV just in time. This was your time. No chores. No interruptions. Just cartoons. And if you grew up in Australia in the 80s, you know exactly what that meant. It meant aggro. Loud, rude, chaotic aggro. He insulted everyone. He sprayed water. He said things that probably shouldn't have been said on kids' TV. And it was brilliant. Between the cartoons, kids would call in to win prizes while aggro heckled them. The cartoons themselves didn't matter as much as the ritual. You sat through shows you didn't like just to get to the ones you loved. The ads were part of it too. Toys you wanted. Cereals your parents wouldn't buy. Fast food prizes you'd never get. What made it special wasn't just the shows. It was the waiting. One morning a week. Everyone watching at the same time. When it ended, it was over. By lunchtime, childhood snapped back to normal. When cartoons moved to all-day channels, the magic disappeared. Nothing felt special anymore. Saturday mornings were never the same. 3. Friday nights meant the video store. Friday night wasn't complete without a trip to the video store. Your whole family would pile into the car and head down together. The moment you walked in, you smelled it. Carpet. Plastic. VHS cases. Rows and rows of oversized boxes lining the walls. The new releases were at the front, and that's where the tension lived. If you got there too late, the movie you wanted would be gone. Completely gone. Not loading. Not buffering. Just not there. You'd walk the aisles slowly, reading the backs of boxes, judging movies entirely by their cover art. Negotiations would start. One pick for the kids. One for the parents. Maybe, if you were lucky, a Nintendo game too. And you had responsibilities. You had to rewind the tape. Every single one said it. Be kind. Rewind. If you forgot and got hit with late fees, your parents would crack it. Those fees felt personal. The video store wasn't just a shop. It was social. You'd see people you knew. Staff actually gave recommendations. It felt human. Then streaming came along, and one by one, those stores disappeared. Now we have everything. And somehow, nothing to watch. 4. The milk bar was the center of the universe. Every suburb had one. A small milk bar run by the same family for decades. It had creaky floors, buzzing fridges, and shelves packed with things kids actually cared about. You'd ride your bike there with coins jingling in your pocket. 20 cents. 50 if you were lucky. The best part was the mixed lollies. You'd grab a white paper bag and point to the jars. 2 snakes. 3 musk sticks. 5 red skins. 1 set of teeth. The person behind the counter knew you. If you were short a few cents, they'd let it slide. If you tried to steal, they'd know. It was built on trust. That milk bar wasn't just about food. It was independence. It was your first taste of moving through the world on your own terms. Supermarkets killed that slowly. Cheaper prices. Bigger chains. And one day, the milk bar was gone. Replaced by nothing. 5. Phone boxes were lifelines. If you needed to make a call and you weren't home, you found a phone box. They were everywhere. On corners. Outside shops. At stations. You'd step inside, feed in coins, and dial. If the beeping started, you panicked. You scrambled for more change. And if you had none, you knew the trick. The reverse charge call. Call the operator. Ask them to reverse it. Your parents would accept. You'd feel guilty for about 2 seconds. Phone boxes meant planning. You couldn't always reach someone. You had to think ahead. When mobile phones arrived, they vanished. And with them went the idea that being unreachable was normal. 6. School banking and the little brown savings book. Every Wednesday, you'd bring your school bag to class with something extra tucked inside. A small brown bank book. Sometimes blue. Sometimes green. But always important. This was school banking day. You'd line up in the classroom or the library, holding onto your coins or notes, waiting your turn. When you reached the front, you'd hand over your money and your book. The bank lady would open it, write down the amount, stamp it, and hand it back. That stamp mattered. Seeing that numbers slowly creep up mattered. You weren't rich. None of us were. But it was yours. $2. $5. Sometimes just 50 cents. You were learning something without realizing it. Saving. Waiting. Not spending everything the second you got it. Some kids took it seriously. Never missed a week. Others forgot their book or spent the money on lollies before they even got to school. But everyone knew what school banking was. It was normal. There were little rewards too. Stickers. Posters. Cheap plastic toys if you'd been consistent. Looking back, it was clever marketing. Get kids loyal early. But at the time, it felt grown up. Responsible. Like you were doing something important. Today, money is invisible. Numbers on a screen. Swipes and taps. Kids don't feel it the same way. That little brown book, with its stamps and handwritten numbers, made money real. When it disappeared, something quietly went with it. 7. BMX bikes and building jumps in the bush. If you were a kid in the 80s, your bike wasn't just transport. It was freedom. And if it was a BMX, even better. Thick tires. Padded handlebars. Loud colors. Bikes built to take a beating. You rode everywhere. To school. To your mate's place. To the shops. And when you weren't going anywhere in particular, you rode to the bush. Or the creek. Or an empty block. Anywhere with dirt. That's where the real work started. You'd build jumps. Not proper ones. Dodgy ones. Piles of dirt shaped by hand, bits of wood shoved underneath, packed down with your feet. You'd test them, crash, rebuild them, and test again. The goal was simple. Get air. For a split second, your wheels would leave the ground and nothing else mattered. You'd take turns, daring each other to go faster, higher, further. Sometimes someone would stack it hard. Blood, scrapes, bruises. Maybe a broken arm. You'd walk it off and get back on. Helmets were optional. Pads were for people who worried too much. Parents weren't hovering. They didn't know exactly where you were, and that was fine. Those jumps didn't last. Eventually, the land got built over. Signs went up. No bikes. No trespassing. The bush disappeared, and so did the tracks. Kids still ride bikes today, but it's different. Supervised. Controlled. We were reckless. And we were free. 8. The $1 and $2 coins replacing the notes. When Australia introduced the dollar coin, it felt strange. When the $2 coin arrived, it felt massive. Real money suddenly had weight. Dollar notes were flimsy. You could fold them, hide them, tuck them into birthday cards. Coins were different. They clinked. They sat heavy in your pocket. You felt them with every step. As a kid, a $2 coin made you feel rich. Could buy real things. A big bag of lollies. A movie ticket if you added a bit more. It felt permanent, important. Adults complained. Coins were heavy. Annoying. Bulky. Vending machines didn't work properly for ages. Arcades had to be updated. But eventually, everyone adjusted. Those notes disappeared completely. Became something you only saw in old drawers or collections. And with them went something subtle. The ceremony of unfolding a note. Handing it over. Watching it change hands. Coins are practical. Durable. But they're boring. Another small shift that marked the end of something older. 9. No sunscreen, no hats, no worry. This one's hard to believe now. But in the early 80s, sun safety wasn't a thing. Not really. You went to the beach or the pool and baked. That was the goal. You didn't put on sunscreen to protect your skin. You used oil to get darker. A tan meant you'd had a good summer. Being pale meant you stayed inside. You'd spend all day in the sun. No hat. No rash shirt. Just lying there until your skin went red and tight. Sunburn hurt, but it was normal. You'd peel a few days later and then do it all again. Parents didn't panic. They'd grown up the same way. Zinc cream existed, but it was for lifesavers and people who took things too seriously. Then the slip slop slap campaign arrived. At first, people laughed it off. Over time, attitudes changed. Hats became mandatory at school. Sunscreen became normal. Shade mattered. We didn't know what we were doing to ourselves back then. It was carefree and it came at a cost. Childhood felt endless. Consequences felt distant. 10. Being unreachable was normal. There was a time when you couldn't be contacted instantly. And that was fine. If you left the house, you were gone. Your parents didn't know exactly where you were. They trusted you'd be back. If something went wrong, you found a phone box. Otherwise, you figured it out. Plans were loose. Meet at the shops. Be home before dark. That was enough. Today, kids are always reachable. Always tracked. Always checked on. Safer, yes. But different. The world feels smaller when you're never truly on your own. If you grew up in 1980s Australia, these memories weren't just stories. They were your life. And if even one of them made you stop and think, you're not alone. Let us know in the comments which memory hit you the hardest, or what we missed that you still remember clearly. Your stories matter, because they belong to a time that shaped a whole generation. And if you want more moments like this, more memories that feel like yesterday, make sure you support the video so we can keep telling these stories.